Good day, fellow observers. Today we're going to do a get out of New York test for version 13.2.2 to American Dream Mall. It's gonna be a 42-minute drive, 23 miles. Let me activate FSD. Okay, so FSD was able to get out of this double parked state. And now we are turning right on stop. Okay, good creep here, and then there's an approaching SUV. Okay, good. Okay, good stop here. And FSD was able to adjust there, and now we're making the turn. So we are crossing an all-way here. Okay, good. Now we're crossing a green. Okay, we're crossing an all-way here. Alright, good. Now we're crossing an all-way. Nice. Okay, so there is a an SUV on hazard, and good stop here because of that oncoming SUV. Okay, good. And now we have a clear path adjusting to a delivery truck. Okay, now we're crossing an all-way. It should be a right-of-way. Okay, good.
In 500 feet, turn right to take the Interstate 295 North ramp.
Okay, so I should just stop here for a moment. I just want to tighten the camera screw. So
now turn right to take the Interstate 295 North ramp.
So let me just do that real quick. Right here.
The Interstate 295 North ramp.
Okay, so I'm back here, and I just was able to make a right. And now we are here. So we are merging towards Clearview Expressway now. And now we merge. Okay, good. FSD currently is staying on the middle lane. So I could feel the wind gusts affecting FSD. So it's good FSD is able to maintain within the lanes. And now we're going straight here. I do think FSD will make a lane change because this lane is a bit slower. Maybe not. Feel the high winds, and FSD is able to maintain its middle lane position.
In 1 mile, keep left to stay on Interstate 295 north toward Interstate 95 south.
Okay, so we just passed the toll collection.
Now keep left to stay on Interstate 295 north.
So good decision here. FSD keeps on to the middle lane because on version 12, FSD had a tendency to be on the passing lane here, and then I'll have to increase the speed limit or decrease, so that counts as a human intervention. But with this kind of decision, FSD is eliminating at least one human intervention.
In 1,000 feet, keep left to stay on Interstate 295 north toward Interstate 95 south. Now keep left to stay on Interstate 295 north.
Okay, so we are going to use the usual route. And good slowdown here. Then good lane change. So let's see later, because FSD is on the passing lane, we'll have to make lane changes towards exit 1A, and sometimes it could be tough. Although I have to say right now it's a bit on the lighter side in terms of traffic. So we have a, what do you call this? I think the difficulty for today's test would be on the easier side because there are less cars. Okay, now we're going to an underpass, and I know that this has been resolved, but just want to mention it just once. There was a problem on version 12 where the camera, FSD will say that camera is occluded when FSD is going on dark sections, like for this underpass. So far I haven't seen it, and since I think 12.5.6.3 Although I haven't uploaded the whole version because I am struggling with time, and I think that is a sacrificial decision, because just in order for me to be updated with my uploads, I'd have to skip that version. So going back to the drive, we are now 3 miles away before we exit. So let's see when FSD will make the lane change. Okay, good slowdown here. Okay, so we didn't avoid that. I wish I avoided that. So when can FSD try to avoid potholes? That's something I'm curious about. So just putting it out there. Okay, now we're starting the lane change. Okay, good lane change. Accelerating before doing the change.
In 1 mile, keep right to take exit 1A onto Interstate 95 South, US 1 South.
Okay, so now we're making a lane change to the right lane. Good speed here, enough to be ahead of the car, I mean the SUV. And now we continue to advance here. Okay, good. Okay, so FSD decides to go back to the middle lane. And so I had to disengage because there is an SUV that didn't notice that I'm also merging, and so we're on the lane already and the SUV kept on advancing, so I disengaged and also blew the horn. Okay, good lane change here. Now we're going back to the right lane, and I do think FSD will stay here because this will be going to exit 1A.
Now keep right to take exit 1A.
So now we keep right here. Okay, good slow down here. adjustment here for this merging SUV.
In 1,000 feet, keep left to take Interstate 95 South, US 1 South toward New Jersey. Now keep left to take Interstate 95 South.
Okay, so we are now going to the lower deck of George Washington Bridge. Soon have that expected GPS issue.
In 1 mile, bear right to stay on Interstate 95 South, then bear right to stay on Interstate 95 South.
So now we have the GPS issue. So this will resolve soon. So now we head to the exit towards I-95 South, and there's several crisscrosses here.
Now bear right to stay on Interstate 95 South.
Okay, not
now
really
bear right to stay on Interstate 95 South.
Not really a crisscross, but more on a bare right. But if you
In
are
500 feet, keep right to take Interstate 95 South toward Hackensack. Now keep right to take Interstate 95 South.
If you're unfamiliar with this route, then it would take you a bit of time to listen to a GPS and then read through the signs. So it's more difficult in that way. So now we are on the passing lane here. I do think FSD will move back to the middle lane, and let's see when it will do it.
In 1 mile, keep left to stay on Interstate 95 South toward Newark.
Okay, so FSD is not moving to the middle lane. I don't think it will now because it has to keep left.
Now keep left to stay on Interstate 95 South.
Okay, so I would prefer FSD to move to the right lane, as there are vehicles that are going to be coming from the left side. Okay, good adjustment here for this merging truck. But since the left lane has its own lane, now I don't really feel like I want to go to the right lane. Okay, so now we're moving to the passing lane.
In 1 mile, keep left to take Interstate 95 towards 16 west.
Now we go back to the middle lane after passing several cars. Feel the wind gusts, and good thing FSD is consistent on being able to adjust to that and keeping within its lane.
Now keep left to take Interstate 95.
Okay, good, keep left. Okay, good, slow down here.
In 1 mile, keep right to take exit 19W toward Meadowlands, Complex.
Okay, so good initial turning on of right turn signal and moving to the right lane, and now we head for the exit.
Now keep right to take exit 19W.
Okay, so we're passing through this toll collection. Now we're moving to the right lane.
In 1,000 feet, Turn left to stay on Meadowland Sports Complex.
Okay, so now we're going back to the middle lane. Okay, good slowdown here. Okay, good. And I'll be disengaging soon.
Now turn left to stay on Meadowland Sports Complex. Now keep left to take Meadowland Sports Complex.
Okay, so we are approaching our destination, so I'm just going to disengage here. Now, good stop here on red. Now it's on green. So I just want to give my takeaways. We started FSD from a double park state. Well, not double park. We were parked by a hydrant, and FSD was able to get out of that and then turned right on stop and was able to adjust to oncoming SUVs from the left and right, and it was able to do the creeps to gain more visibility, so that's good. And then we continued moving forward to an all-way and crossed it, which is good. And then we had a red light. No, actually we had a green light, and then FSD gave way to that turning SUV, and then it advanced, so that's good. And then we crossed several all-ways, but in between those there were two delivery trucks, one on our lane and one on the opposite lane, and FSD was able to adjust to that. And so I think it's good FSD has that skill to adjust and also to move to the opposite lane just to pass over some double parked vehicles. And so before going to Clearview, I had to adjust my camera real quick. And then once I did that, FSD was able to turn right on stop, and then was able to merge to Clearview. And FSD stayed on the middle lane for the most part and passed through Throg's Neck Bridge. And FSD was able to go and keep left and still keep at the middle lane, because if it was on the passing lane, like in version 12, sometimes I increase or decrease the speed depending on the passing lane traffic. And then after that, FSD was able to move to the passing lane for a bit on Cross Bronx Expressway. FSD was able to move from the middle lane to the right lane. Now, because the right lane was a bit slower, FSD went to the middle lane, and FSD was successful in that. However, there was this SUV from the passing lane.
In 500 feet.
FSD saw in the passing lane there was an SUV on the passing lane, and it didn't see me, so I had to disengage and honk, and I had to take over just in case I have to do a maneuver. But I disengaged there proactively just to be on the safe side. After that, FSD was able to go back, so it passed, so it was on the middle lane, passed several cars on the right lane, and then it went back to the right lane. And that was interesting to me. So I mean, it was fast though, because it did that. So it went to the right lane and then continued straight to exit 1A, was able to adjust to a merging SUV and went through the lower deck. And then we had that expected GPS issue, and it resolved on its own, as what we've expected as well. Shortly after, we were able to go through George Washington Bridge, and FSD was able to continue and find its way. So it's really just a simple instruction: keep right towards I-95 South, and then keep right to Hackensack. So I'm just gonna keep my memory for that one. I mean, I'm just going to memorize that because it's easier. But if you don't have FSD and you're driving on your own and you have a GPS, you kind of have to listen to the GPS and then read through the signs. So that's a bit of a tricky thing to juggle. So after that, FSD was able to go through the highway. FSD stayed on the passing lane, which was interesting, but it had enough speed, so I didn't do anything. So that's good. And then FSD continued straight and followed signs towards American Dream Mall, and it exited to Meadowbrook, which is good, and we didn't have to do anything else. So overall, it was a smoother drive than in V12s. So I think it's very nice to have FSD be able to make prudent lane selections because it eliminates human interventions as a result. So although I had a one human intervention, it's good that the drive overall is smooth, and so for that I think it's still a better version than version 12, of course. So I mean version 13.2.1. Well, the thing is, I didn't have any human interventions on 13.2.1, if I remember it correctly. So, I don't know. Maybe 13.2.1 was better in terms of the highway. I think that's my overall assessment when I started testing 13.2.2. So it might be 13.2.1 is better. I don't know. It's up for debate.